What's going on, family? Welcome to another episode of the Fatherhood Village podcast. I go by the name of Dale Holloway, and I'm always with my boy Kev Hick. We are your TFV hosts. Listen, we have a special guest to join us on the show today, talking about alternative ways to seek help. We're talking about self improvement, talking about self actualization, and we're going and talk about a host of other things. But before we jump into that topic, I like to bring on the second half of the host for today, Kev Hick. Man, what's going on with you, brother?
Man, I'm well, bro. How you doing?
I'm good. Life is good, man. The snow is a little dissipated at this point. We got the kids outside. Yeah,
Yeah, I keep forgetting about that Alaska. You back in the ice box, yeah.
right. So, but it's all right. It's all right out here, man. Just soaking in, but everything's blessings, man. Health, everybody's happy. Can't
Absolutely.
complain. Can't
Nothing wrong
complain.
with that.
Awesome. But yeah, man, as this episode unfolds, we're gonna talk about some great things, and we're honored to have the privilege to have a special guest on today's show again to talk about alternative forms of help. We're talking about the spiritual aspect of things, and we're diving into some astrology type of thinking, ways of healing, some interesting things I think you guys will be enlightened today. So, as our special guest, we like to bring in this gentleman. His name is Martel Akade. He goes by the name of Daddy Longlegs. And he's welcome today with open arms. And without further ado, how you doing, brother? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing beautiful. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So before we get into some questions that Kevin and I may have, can you kind of walk us through what got you to this point as far as your occupation and what you do to help others? What kind of got you to this spot right here, and why is it so important for you to do this?
Okay. So I started studying astrology around 18 or 19. I'm 33 now. But what I always tell people is that growing up, I've always been like the friend that people come to for advice. Like, and some extremely traumatic, some, they broke up with their girlfriend when we were in 8th grade or whatever. I've always been that kind of person. So uh, I guess once I started going on the journey of understanding myself more, uh, I gravitated towards astrology. I had a uncle who kind of introduced me to a lot of things revolving around spirituality. He got me into martial arts. He got me into astrology, studying ancient African history, all these things. So around, like I said, 18, 19, I started getting into basic sun sign stuff. And for people who don't know, sun sign is basically a regular zodiac. It's like, my birthday's next week, so I'm a Libra, you know. And I went to go visit him. He was getting a reading done, another type of reading by people who don't know, this is a African religion called Ifa, and they have priests within the religion. So he's getting a reading by the priest. I come there with a few of my boys, and we like just chilling in the back and kind of like little eavesdropping. And once they're done, we're talking to the Babalao, asking him a bunch of questions. And one of my friends goes, "Hey, Baba, what's your sign?" So he's like, "Oh, I'm a Scorpio." And then he kind of, when people talk about astrology, they usually do some kind of like stare, like, "Oh, you a Gemini? I can't mess with you." So he kind of looked at us. He was like, "Before you kind of get into your shit about, Scorpios, you got to understand that there's more to it than just your sun sign." So he starts explaining natal charts to us, like, "Oh, your moon could be here, your moon could be in Gemini, but your Mars could be in Aries or whatever." And this blew my mind. I had no idea that it went this in depth in describing the uniqueness of a person. So we all know our sun sign, but to know that you could have 3 Capricorns in a room. One has a moon in Aries, the other one has a moon in Sagittarius, another one has a moon in like Aquarius, and this will show different. This will kind of reveal what makes them different.
Mm.
So once he told me that, I got on the computer, and from that point on, 15 years later, this is where I'm at. And it's been an obsession. It's been a way that I've been able to help a lot of people, including myself.
Yeah.
It's put a lot of things in context for me in regards to seasons. We all go through different seasons, and it's good to have a context to put it in, to be able to go, all right, this is happening because, oh, okay, this is transit in my second house, or this and that. So yeah, it brought me to this point. I'm grateful for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You said your birthday is next week. So is mine. I'm October 10th. So
Hey, Libra gang. I'm
yeah.
October 6th.
No, solid. Happy early birthday, brother.
Same to you. Same to you.
Right.
So
What's your birthday?
oh,
If you mind.
you
Sorry.
sure?
Yeah, mine's passed. It's in April. I'm what they call Taurus. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, he's stubborn. He's
I
stubborn.
am. I wear that proudly,
It's all good. It's all good.
But so I guess my biggest question to you is, when a man comes to you, what type of issues do people come to you to solve in your ministry and in your profession? Like when a guy's coming to you, what type of things can you help him with? We in the village, we trying to figure out how to make sure that men are just given an opportunity to find someone who has, a tool that they can use and put in their toolbox. So what tool are you sharing with these brothers using your knowledge?
This I've had, because when I first started these services, I started last December, and I did it for free for a whole month to see like who would come to me, and just kind of do it almost as a case study. And I got the gambit of men. I had 19-year-olds in college trying to find themselves. Maybe they were like, they didn't know if they should stay in school or if they should go this other route. I met men that were divorced. I met men that, were having certain issues with their fathers. I talked to gay men. I talked to straight men. It varied a lot, but I would say some of the common issues that came up was money. Sometimes people want to know when is the time to make the right move. I had one brother hit me up, and he's just like, well, I'm trying to start this business, and he's laying out his plan for me, and he's like, I want to know what these next months are looking like for me. And I kind of pulled out a map of the United States, and there's a form of astrology called astrocartography where you can see what places on the globe are good for you or going to bring a certain type of energy. Your Venus line, since that deals with beauty, that might be a place where you take a girl on a nice vacation. It's very romantic. Or maybe that's also a good line for money. Or your sun line, which is really good for your ego and just wanting to search yourself. You got Pluto, might be more about transformation. So I looked it up, I gave him, and we were able to create a plan based off of that.
Yeah.
Another guy was going through a really hard breakup, and he just, sometimes, even some of my sessions is just pure listening. I might look at their birth chart, but sometimes a person just needs to get it out. They just need to say, yo, I'm going through this.
Yeah.
And to have somebody that can receive it in a similar way, because I'm a man, I might have been through certain similar experiences, so I could go, I see where you're coming from. We need somebody to listen, and it's nice to have an outlier to stand outside of us and be able to look at what's going on. So that's what I've been doing for a while now.
Absolutely.
So I had a quick question. What was probably the most difficult, I guess, situation to uncover and try to, I guess, help someone navigate through, whether it been a man, a woman, indifferent? What was something that was kind of troublesome for you to kind of help someone out in, finding a solution or a way forward?
It's two situations that come to mind, mainly for women, even though it definitely happens for men. Sexual traumas, things, because you could spot things like that in a chart as well. You could see things that might have happened in childhood, or sexual assault, molestation. So I've dealt with clients that had to go through that, and it's really intense. You know, there was a time within my practice where I was afraid to even go there. You know, it's like I'm looking at something, I'm like, this kind of looks like this, and I don't want to say, and then I do. I'm like, hey, I don't want to, you know, step on any boundaries, but did this happen? And they're usually like, whoa, yes. And they also usually thank me, like, I wasn't expecting this from the reading, but you bringing this up helped me get so much closure about it. So that's one. And then, um, particularly, this is a real controversial one, but I'm just a person who looks at patterns. Um, is a I've had a couple of gay men hit me up, and there's in the ones that I did services with, there was a correlation between, and I can't even put it on just that, because it can manifest in different ways, but deep rooted issues with the father. You know, like one guy, speak and stuff like that, and it's like, man, I think you're seeking your father in these relationships, because that'll be a main thing he'll talk about. Hey man, I want to see what love is like, and I met this guy, and we talk about, all right, cool, how does he seem? Oh, he seems, whatever. But there's a certain undertone to what he's expressing. I'm like, you're yearning for something. And I could see it in your chart. I could see where, because certain planets will represent certain people in your family. So like the moon represents your mother, Saturn represents your father, sun also represents your father in certain ways. So seeing how these things line up, it's like, ooh, this is deeper than just you finding love.
Right.
So if you're willing to go there, we can. If some people, if they're not, I respect the boundary, but it's so many layers to our lives and what we experience.
That's very interesting because, like I said, this whole podcast is about first of all building those relationships between father and son, but also in a way healing those relationships that are currently being broken while there's still time to make the correction, right, from the fathers that hear our voices and listen to our counsel. And then also those of us who are up in age and learning to adjust and deal with our inner broken child, right? And how we affect our children and how we affect the people in our lives as a result of what we've been through, what we survived, the trauma we've either given to other people or we've been the receptor of. It's very interesting that you find that correlation in people, in different ways in different parts of your practice, because that's exactly what, the Fatherhood Village is about, is trying to prevent the trauma and heal the trauma where necessary and where possible, right? Because we're not miracle workers, but a lot can be done when you focus on something. First of all, you admit that there's an issue and you witness it, and you're aware of it and you're made aware of it, and then you're committed to trying to figure out how to find a better way or a better solution or another behavioral manifestation that doesn't hurt and doesn't continue the cycle, and so man, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Really appreciate what you guys are doing.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate you, man. Just alluding to what Kev was saying, man. This is exactly what we wanted to start. We wanted to implement, having folks like yourself and people in all walks of life that are in the business of helping others. So that's what we're here for, and we all need it. Like we sometimes I feel like I feel like I'm okay. I'll be all right, but then we need to have that maturity and be like, okay, let's dive a little deeper, or let's get a little bit more detailed about some of the things we go through. We could think that it's something small and some nuisance, but it could, develop into something worse. And especially when having children, you know what I mean? You definitely want to be watchful and cognizant of that. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's extremely important that we kind of rebuild what our culture is, especially Black culture, right? And for Black men specifically, getting away from all the things that have been shoved in our faces, pimping, thugging, the whoring, all of these different things that we do. I think that we need to make a culture, and I don't know how we do this outside of platforms like this and the other platforms dedicated to fathers, mentors, brotherhoods, and things of that nature. But it needs to be culture that when you need help, you go seek help, and you can never be too tough for help, right? And just asking for help needs to be culture in our society, especially in the Black community, just because we are so conditioned to deal with trauma in our own way. And our own way is usually a way of ignorance, right? It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily help us move forward or create a different reality. And so, I want anybody who's listening to this, I really want them to get the point of never be afraid to ask for help. You're not too tough to ask for help. You're not too masculine to ask for help. It is not
Right.
masculinity. It's not toughness. It is not grit to go without, especially when you're talking about mental health, spiritual health, right? Your energetic posturing and what you give and deliver to the people around you. And for us,
Mm.
again, this is the Fatherhood Village. We're talking about fathers, how you impact your child dictates how
Yeah.
they move and how they operate, the behavioral manifestations of their trauma and their experience. Some of them are positive. They're positive experiences that fed them and that gave them fruit will lead to them doing great things and great behavioral manifestations. But there are some things that you can put into your kids unknowing, not like completely on accident, because you're not dealing with your
Mm-hmm.
own shit, because you're too
Absolutely.
logical or you're too tough to go seek help, whether there's alternative help or conventional help or modern help or classic old, wisdom. Whatever you need to do, you need to leave no stone unturned, as far as just trying to make sure that you can provide yourself a healthy experience from this point. You can't change yesterday, but you can change this point. And that's what
Yeah.
we're trying to do here in the Fatherhood Villages. Encourage brothers to change from this point on. I'm going to do this differently and better in whatever ways I can contribute better to it. And so we appreciate brothers like you, because it takes a brother like yourself. It takes people like us. It takes people who are willing to, first of all, be rejected by our own, be questioned
Mm-hmm.
by our own, be insulted
Mm-hmm.
by our own. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
have to get through that tougher outer layer. And so, excuse me. Have you experienced some of that pushback from brothers when you're trying to help them, you're trying to give them the game, you're trying to give them some guidance, but they're too tough for the message, they're too tough to hear what you're saying, and you see that resistance?
Oh, all the time. I have one particular story in mind where it was actually my client of mine who's a woman, her husband. So they're going, their marriages up and down and all that stuff, and it wasn't bad, but he had a child from a previous marriage, and from what I remember, it was basically like she, as far as I guess the other mother's perspective is he moved on, he got his life, he got his new baby and all that. She a little jealous, so now she's creating trauma, and that drama rather. And that drama turned into, you know how we get sometimes. Like if you push the buttons, we're gonna get a little aggressive, but I could tell it was done very strategically. He didn't like harm her, but it was like a situation with a boyfriend she's dating, and he like, I'm about to break this dude's jaw, kind of a thing. Long story short, he ends up having to go to court. He has a court case, but my client, his wife, is pregnant, so this is causing stress with her.
Right.
So over the course of, I would say, like a year, maybe a little less than a year, I'll be like, how you doing? Oh, he's in court. I hear the stress coming from her,
Yeah.
and you good?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, hearing the stress come from her, I'm like, man, she shouldn't be going through this. I wish he would talk to me, because
Right.
when a woman is pregnant, they're in a very vulnerable state. Their mind goes different places. They're tapped into this child. They shouldn't be in a place of panic. So I was
Absolutely.
like, you should have him call me. So month one goes by. Yeah, he said he's gonna call you back, and da da da. 2, 3 months, 4 months, things are escalating and getting more intense. And I'm like, is he gonna call me? So finally, after, I don't know, 6, 7 months, I'm like, have him play this message. I was like, my brother, I need you to call me. I was like, I don't want her calling me. I don't want no relay. I'm talking to you directly. Do this message. I need you to call me. I need you to set up an appointment so we can talk about this. So after a long period of time, he finally hit me up. We start talking about things that were going on. I got 2 kids. I was married at one time. I got divorced. So I know all the little intricate parts of splitting up with a partner and having a kid or two by them, and the dynamics, how people respond to those dynamics. So,
Right.
so I'm an astrologer, I'm a human, so I was able to, like you said, put them on game and give them some insight of how to deal with this, whether it be understanding her a little more astrologically and being like, all right, well, she's, this is, I don't expect you to understand, but like her son is in your, in your 8th house. So this means, and you should try to do this and X, Y, and Z. And afterwards, he's like, wow, I had no idea. Again, a lot of guys, they think it's going to be, flower filters and namaste. I'm not saying that's bad, but again, we can use this in a very practical way. Just like we tend to our home, whether you're a builder, if a sink needs to be fixed, you go and fix it. We keep maintenance within our home, our cars. Mm-hmm. And I feel that it is a absolute necessity to also take care of spiritual maintenance in the same way and to lead in the same way, so that we can foresee certain things. Because we have, just as men, as leaders of our family, we, whatever we apply our mind to will be another tool in our belt in regards to leadership. So to be able to lead spiritually, when something goes wrong with my children, I could look at their chart and be like, all right, he's kind of going through this year. He's kind of going, my daughter's going through that, or, the things that they go through, but being able to put into context, maybe, this is a time for my daughter to join a sport. This is my time for my son to do this. If I'm dating somebody, same thing, seeing if we're compatible, so I don't waste time. So we don't waste time. You know what I mean? So yeah, I've experienced some reluctancy from men, but usually I eventually could kind of wheel them in, but sometimes it's difficult because you know how we are.
Yeah.
Right. And it just starts with a simple conversation.
Right.
And just having that conversation evolve, because a lot of us don't want to be vulnerable to the wrong folks. So we keep a lot of information, and it's challenging, like I said, just to divulge information that's kind of sacred to you. And then if you hit on this point, you got to explain the backstory of it. Then you like, I don't even want to get into it. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to unpack certain things. But yeah, it's tough. You know what I mean?
I think you made a good enough point. A lot of times we have to ourselves like how to go about maintaining our minds and our spirits. Like men immediately understand, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna get some pecs, I'm gonna get some buys and some tries and a 6-pack. Like we immediately get that we need to be war ready physically, right? And just for like I work out. And I just started working out again. COVID took me out of the game, and I'm building a house right now. I got a lot going on. So so my paper chase took me out of the game for a minute, but I jumped back in, and I'm about to get back like I've been back. But like we understand, I go to the gym. We understand, for those of us who are pro Second Amendment, I carry a gun, right? We understand, keep our head on the swivel, be situationally aware, right? Make sure we got our shit together. We understand having our, many of us, some of us, I won't say many, some of us understand keeping our finances in order, being a good financial steward, right?
Right.
Again, being war ready at all times. We're prepared for a financial issue. We're prepared for a physical confrontation. We'll prepare everything in the world. And then somebody asks you, well, how's your spiritual life? And you're like, I mean, I feel okay. Somebody asks you, how's your mental health? How's your mental health, man? And you're like, I guess I'm straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't even have a concept of the maintenance that you put on your body, the maintenance that you put in your bank account, the precautions that you take, and where you go and how situationally aware you are, the gun you carry. All of these things are meant to protect your experience here and protect your life, but we don't give that same credence to mental health or spiritual health at all. Not Absolutely. From what we absorb. Like the things we absorb are terrible. They're toxic. Like we go everywhere to look for the thing that is going to bring our vibration down. We go everywhere to look for the thing that's going to drop our moods. We're looking for outrage in every direction. And those of us aware enough and like wise enough eventually catch on, oh, that outrage is adding to my anxiety. It's taking away from my experience. I'm going to turn the news off, right? We can get to that point. But when do we start making it culture to say, listen, how do I get my spiritual life in order? Like I did my workout today. I worked out 3 times a day. I did 3-4 bodies this week. Now I ain't did no spiritual nothing. How do I even implement
Right.
that in my daily
Yeah.
regimen? What are some things that a man can start to do to start to exercise his spirit and exercise his mind health as it pertains to his spirit? Um,
Um,
as much as he would exercise his body, just to bring that routine in, and then get
right.
into the depths of it as he gets more and more interested or more and more fit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. There's a lot of ways to start. I mean, if you want to go the more spiritual route, I would definitely recommend looking at your natal chart, getting somebody to read it, even studying it yourself. But one thing that's big for me is prayer. You know, praying every morning, praying twice, 3 times if you have to, you know, during the day. And just, you know, I think what helps in that whole thing about needing help or not needing help is understanding there's something so much bigger than you out there, and you're this tiny little thing in this vast universe, you know?
Mhm.
So, you know, I think prayer is the beginning of understanding that you're tapping into something beyond you, you know,
Mhm.
whether it be your ancestors, whether it be, you know, the all God, you know, however you do it. But I think prayer is a perfect place to start, because then I'd say prayer and meditation. I think those are 2 perfect places to start.
Yeah.
You know, I know certain people have their own religions. I have no problem with that. You know, I wasn't raised Christian, but I say the past couple of months I've been just reading the Bible for gems, because you could find gems in anything.
It's some
You
game.
know,
It's some game there.
these ancient scriptures, there's a lot of meaning and symbolism behind it. So whether you're Muslim and you read in the Quran, you know, Jewish in the Torah, you know, you Christian reading the Bible, or whatever, you can find that these documents, these books have been used for thousands of years to create a spiritual code of conduct. And if you're able to align yourself whatever path you choose, you know, I highly recommend that.
Mm, that's deep.
Yeah.
And that's simple. Anybody can do it. You just have to commit to your having a better experience. You're giving a better experience as well. I think a lot of times it starts from service for us. Like for me, I understand when I'm not healthy, when I'm not
Hmm.
giving a healthy experience, right? When my impact isn't healthy, I'm like, oh, I need to sit the hell down and go find somewhere to meditate. I need to go get some
Hmm.
alone time. You know what I'm saying? I need some me time. I need to decompress because what I'm giving off now is not edifying those around me. It's creating damage and micro tears in their surface. And so me and my wife, we always, we watch each other for those moments, and we try to make sure that we give each
Uh-huh.
other breaks when it's necessary. But I think that that's a great place to start. And as simple as it is, hell, I'm a man I'm aware enough, but I didn't think, you know what, maybe I should just set a regimented schedule for prayer and meditation today. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I used to be on a meditation schedule, and you get away from stuff. You get busy and you get away from stuff.
Yeah.
And then it becomes like foreign language. I haven't meditated on a regular basis in a while. I've been visualizing a lot because I'm trying to manifest this
Mhm.
house and stuff. And we're
Uh-huh.
building and everything, but I haven't been meditating, like truly just sitting down and giving that meditation time. And I can kind of tell. I
It
can
it
kind of
it
tell.
Yeah,
helps.
yeah, yeah.
It helps. We talked about it a while ago, but I take the time throughout my commute to and from work to meditate. That's like the long time that
Mm.
I need, and no music, no phone calls. Sometimes I'm on autopilot because I'm so lost in my own thoughts.
Hmm.
Taking that same route to and from work. But that's the time I know it is necessary, because if I know I'm not, zoned out listening to tunes or, audio books or something like that, I know I need that one-on-one with myself. Because having
Yes,
children,
yeah.
having a family, once you get home, it's a whole
Daddy
nother
mode.
road that starts. Yeah, you got to be in daddy mode, husband mode. So yeah, you got to
Hmm.
find whether it's in the shower, um, if you need to go, if you're doing long care outside, take some time that you can just tap into your own conscience. You know what I'm saying? And kind of figuring some things out for yourself.
That's a good point. And which is why my damn water bill be so high. I need to take my
Oh,
to meditation.
yeah,
Yo, the shower. I'm such a genius in the shower. For some reason, I come up with the greatest ideas, money making
Uh-huh.
schemes, everything. I'm so
right.
free in the shower, and I don't. That's terribly wasteful. I should stop it. And now we have like a small like I'm in a temporary apartment. We have like a small water heater, so I haven't been able to meditate very well because we got 5 minutes of hot water, and that's about it.
Okay, right.
I don't
Oh
know what's
wow.
up with this apartment complex. Like 5 or 10 minutes. It ain't right. But I can tell you that we all we find ourselves doing busy things during those specific times that we could actually be feeding our minds or at least clearing them. Right,
Right.
like to your
Mm-hmm.
point, lawn care, long drives, and the body's on autopilot. Like I was just listening to some brain study stuff about how we are really truly not even present during tasks that we have done before. Once you've done a task and done it repetitively, your brain stops. Like your brain, it becomes an involuntary function, almost like breathing or your heartbeat. Like it's really
Right.
something that you don't do. So I feel like I teleport home from work sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
Right.
that started to scare me. So I started listening to stand up comedy so I can like at least feel like I was aware enough. But sometimes the jokes are too good, and I still feel like I teleport. But
Right, right.
whether it's cutting grass and just being alone with your thoughts. If you can think over the lawnmower hum, I can't, but I know people who love lawn work because it does that for them. My mom, she loves lawn work because it's her meditation. Whether it's showers, whether it's long drives, we need to at least be aware and cognizant that those are opportunities. Because the first excuse and the only excuse that you will ever hear when you tell someone to better themselves is what? Oh man, I ain't got time, man. I be busy.
Right.
Everybody's busy. Everybody's
Yeah.
busy.
Mm-hmm.
We have to start finding opportunities within our version of busy to be our best and to bring our best. And sometimes that means that if we can't make 5 minutes, we take the 5 minutes that we're scrolling through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, right? Where I don't know what if we're not staring at the ceiling, meditating, visualizing, or we're not sitting in silence, there's still opportunities in the day where we can meditate safely and really ground ourselves again. And I think that we just all have to be aware and mindful that at the very least, between prayer and meditation, we can give ourselves a different experience. And if that is not enough, we can reach out to brothers like you. I even have a thing where I mentor young men. I talk to men who need help.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like there's always someone that you can talk to. And if we can't find it within ourselves to be better and do better and offer better, we have to go find alternative routes, whether it's conventional, whether it's modern medicine, whether it's something that
Mm-hmm.
people are
Mm-hmm.
hip to or they're not hip to, whether it's a higher self or, normal things that everybody's, accepting of. I think that we just need to make sure that we're always functioning. And to do that, sometimes we need to ask ourselves, are we really there? Are we really, at our best? And for the most part, we'd be surprised. Sometimes the answer is no. And few of us like to admit that we haven't been giving our best or haven't been offering our best or our impact hasn't been its best, And so I think that self-correction needs to be there and that awareness has to be there for that to happen.
Yeah. I think a great way to form those habits, because I get similar advice about diet. Um, all of our habits are usually created from a space of joy. The reason why you eat the food you eat is because you crave it. If it's a cheesecake your grandmother makes, it's like, I love this thing. So, I give this advice usually for diet, but I think in creating habits for yourself in general is like, make it feel good. Whatever
Mm.
you can do to you want to look forward to your meditation. If that's 2 minutes, I feel like especially with the way it's marketed, meditation and all these things that give us clarity are like these unreachable things. If you're not, wearing, you know, genie pants and a man bun, you can't do it. And it's something that's outside of you, but like your mind is here.
Yeah.
If this 2 minutes with yourself, and then also seeing it from a space of like, uh, is an investment. You know what I mean? Like we think we're it's taken away from my time from this, but I know I had to learn this about resting. Is like I consider resting part of my work, because if I don't rest, then my work isn't going to be of the quality that I want it to be. So
That's
instead
deep
of
right there.
when I was younger, I'm like, what? 3 hours of sleep. I'm gonna wake up 4 o'clock. I gotta do X, Y, and Z. Take the kids to school, then go to work, and all these things. And I would come home, and my body is depleted. I couldn't even engage my children properly because I've been running around all day off of 3 hours of sleep because I'm a man. I'm supposed to. I don't need to sleep. You know, we
Yeah.
all see memes of
Right.
Diddy. I only sleep 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? It's like, nah, I don't believe in that at all. I'm not saying that there are times we have to be disciplined. You know, I wake up pretty early and I got my regimen, but sleep come first. Because if my mind ain't clear, then whatever I do have to do is going to be a poor quality.
Yeah.
So, you know, bringing, keeping these things in mind as things that are investments, things that are going to make my life better. You know, they're not taken
Yeah.
away from what I do. Because, like you said, with the gym, we don't do that with the gym. You know, we don't go, oh man, if I'm in this gym for an hour, you know what I could be doing. You're like, no, I understand that my body's strong. Then, you know, like you said, preparation. If I'm out on the street, whatever happens, I'm prepared for it. It's investment, and you might never fight for 20 years. You never
I ain't beat nobody's ass since '96. But I'm ready though.
Right.
Right, exactly. But you're ready. Like we do it for that.
Yeah.
It's like I ain't never gonna. I'm not a guy that fights all the time, but you know, I still enjoy martial arts. I still enjoy working out, and it's like again, most of the time, even when a confrontation does happen, it's like a halfway. You know, it's a disagreement that could be resolved just by talking. But
Right.
if it goes down, I'm ready.
Right.
But we don't take that same thing in account. Because just to add on to that point, there's been times where, let's say I haven't been meditating or whatever, and I'm in such maybe a little funk or just moody that day or whatever the case may be, and you get in an argument on the road, and it's like, were you really about to jump out this car for something that ain't gonna matter in 2 seconds?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why? Because my mind ain't clear.
Right.
Now I drive, I'm like, bro, just let that, somebody cut you, bye. You know what I mean? Even worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So but it's because of the clarity of being able to meditate, pray. You know, when you do these things, you know, the higher forces speak to you. You know what I mean? Every day you're doing something, and it's like, you don't even need to engage in that. It's not even your own thoughts. You know, spirit just talks to you like, you know what, man, let's go around the corner. Ain't that serious?
Yeah.
And it ends up being nothing. You know what I mean? But that's what I mean by investment, you know? So I think when we take it and we put it in that framework, and when we look at it from that point of view, it could be something that we look forward to. Because we just like when we work out, we see the benefits. We can see the benefits of prayer and meditation as well.
That's extremely true. I remember the last time I got into a situation where violence would have normally been my first go-to. It was the most prayed up I had ever been in my life. And so it was like it was just a clear road to conflict and violence, and I hadn't get to exercise my skill set. And you know, I've done some boxing, I've done a little bit of Muay Thai. You know, I've dibbled and dabble, right. But street fighting was my thing. I used to, you know, in the '90s, my brother used to put me out there, and I can say that meditation, prayer, you know, the things you're suggesting are valuable for our Black brothers specifically, but every man, because we find ourselves in a lot of trouble, and because we mishandle our aggressions and we mismanage them. And man, what if we could make a culture that before we decided what you looking at, or you know, oh, you testing me? What if we just was in prayer? What if our minds were clear? I remember how clear my mind was the last time a man tested me in my adulthood, and I was just like, I'm good. Hey, you got it, bro. Do your thing. I'm gonna spare you, bro. Have a good day, bro. Love and respect, bro. Love and respect. It didn't even cross my mind. I want to beat him to death. But if I'm not prayed up, or if I'm not meditating, like I got a lot more conflict in me when I don't got that level of peace. And every time I've been an adult, I've been in these meditation phases where I had peace. And so I can, even the way you function is just so much more smooth, man. You know,
Yeah.
all our brothers that go to jail, violence and guns and all of these different things are the first response to a stranger pissing you off on accident. That a person
Right.
you'll never see again, you never seen them before, you never see them again. Who gives a damn if they have a respect for you? Respect is so overrated, especially the respect of a stranger. Man, I don't
Yeah.
give a
Yeah.
damn, bro. Do your thing,
Right.
But
Right.
to your point, those things do help you function, and in a practical sense, they help you function. And I think you made some very good points about that, and I think that our viewers will come away extremely helped if they just implement what you just said. Just even half of it, a portion of it, it could help them a lot, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think one other thing you alluded to it, Martell, when being on the road
Yeah.
and somebody cutting you off, you just this instant road rage, you instantly have an attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody, you know what I'm saying? It's like equivalent somebody stepping on your shoes in the club or something like that, right?
Right.
You
Right.
were violated on the street somehow, in passing with vehicles and stuff. So, and all of us get it. And I think
Mm-hmm.
you can attribute that to other things in life, people at work, that
Mm-hmm.
have issues with, and you finally snap, or you get to a boiling point at home and you snapping on little stuff. But that means there was a problem long ago. We're
Yes.
allowing things to, what I'm saying, to boil up. We're suppressing things. Uh, and we know it's a problem right away. And like you said, instead of having that conversation, instead of kind of having it hashed out, then, have a diplomatic, healthy conversation about, okay, there's an issue I have right here with this, while you're still calm. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because most times you're just not gonna snap for no reason. There's something behind that. There's something
Yeah.
that we
Yeah.
ain't
Yeah.
tackled and we haven't addressed initially. So I think that speaks to a lot of things. Because this time, like I said, I've been on the road and I'm like, nah, he cool. Go ahead, bro. I'm all right, man. We
Right.
just
Right.
chilling. And then there's other times, man, what the man, hold up, man. So that's an issue, what I'm saying, I haven't tackled, that stems back beyond that point in time. You know what I mean? And I know and I see the difference. I'm like, okay, I'm acting like this here, and then there's night and day over here. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You got to kind of trace your steps and like, okay, so that stemmed from back when I was at work, or that's something that the wife has said, and I'm still thinking
Yes.
about that. And then, like you said, you could react in the wrong way, conduct yourself in the wrong uh, um, way in confrontation with someone else, and it really wasn't that big. You over here about to start a fight with somebody, and you know what I'm saying, and it's really nothing to do with them. It's something that you got going on here in your mind. So,
Mm-hmm.
One last point I wanted to make. Um, I had a dream last night, and in this dream, there was a large groups of people about to have what looked to be a bloody fight to the death, right? And guns was drawn and everything. And I'm not gonna say it was a. You know how dreams are stupid, so I'm not gonna give out the whole context of the dream. But um, in this dream, I remember somebody came up to me before I had to, stay in my position, and I was like, violence is intriguing because once you start it, you have no control over it. Like
Mm.
once you start violence, you cannot control it. Like you don't get to decide when violence, becomes enough, right? Like it always goes further than you thought it was going to go.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And what I realize is that, like, for us to have this conversation and talk about, because now my and I know this might even be off topic a little bit, but when we tell young brothers to meditate, I like to give them at least an idea of what that means for me, and maybe you can give them an idea of what it means for you. And even if we go another 10 minutes or so, I'm cool with that. But I think it's important not to just tell the ignorant of meditation that, hey, meditation, and we know prayer, but a lot of people have been trying prayer, and that's been a challenge for them because their faith has been challenged, right? So sometimes prayer
Right.
you might have to bounce between prayer and meditation. So for those of us who are interested in meditation and don't know how to implement meditation, I'll give a simplified method of how I choose to meditate. And if you have something different, you can give them a quick, simple thing that they can either look into or Google or try themselves. So for me, I do a type of meditation that helps me manage my moods. Again, I hadn't been meditating this month because I've been on a paper chase and I need to get
Mm-hmm.
back to it. But what I have my clients do, because I'm a life coach as well, um, and I don't even know if that goes into life coaching, but I know it helps me, so it helps my clients. I wake up in the morning, even if I have to wake up 10 minutes sooner than I need to, and I choose the mood I want. I have a few favorite moods. I have a mood that I love that is ambitious, right? When I have ambition on my spirit, I am happy and I'm energetic. Okay. I like I have this fatherly love type of mood that I choose sometimes, and I'm really just meditating on the thankfulness that I feel for my family, for my kids, for my wife, for the health of my family, because we've seen the hospital, right? So I'm either choosing gratitude or I'm choosing ambition to start my day. I wake up 10 minutes before I need to. I choose ambition or I choose gratitude, right? And you can choose another emotion, whatever is your favorite feeling to feel throughout the day. You take 10 minutes and you take the most powerful image or the most powerful recollection, the most powerful memory in your mind that gives you that physical sensation of having that feeling. And it has to be something that happened, whether you look at your favorite picture of your favorite person and you're grateful for that person, right? To give you the spirit and usher in the spirit of gratitude, or you're thinking about your next move, your master plan, how you going to get to the paper, how you going to get to this house, or whatever your dreams manifested would be. You think about those for 10 minutes. Think about the end result, your purpose, your overall purpose, not your goal, not the steps, but the overall purpose, right? And you take 10 minutes to feel that, to feel the emotions attached to the most powerful feelings that you like to feel throughout the day. And from that point on, you've chosen that as your intention for the day. As you go throughout your day, if you lose that feeling, that means you've gotten away from your meditation. All you have to do is go
Mm-hmm.
right back to that thing that you thought of, that you burned into your mind for 10 minutes before you started your day. And you immediately know you're not in meditation anymore because the physical emotion leaves your body and you're like, wait a minute, I don't feel right. I had a vibe going, ambition. We back on.
Mm.
We back on, and
Mm.
you
I
just
like
start
that.
and you burn it into your mind again. And I like it because it's an active form of meditation. I can do it while I'm at work. I can do it when my hands are busy. I can do it while I'm driving. So for me, it's the image of me coming home to my brand new house. I'm on my custom Kobe Bryant Mamba mentality basketball court that I'm going to build, and I'm asking my son about his day over a game of basketball. That's my vision for myself,
Mm.
and that way I
Mm-hmm.
can. That way, ambition mixes with my gratitude for my son and just the fatherly love I have. So I'm full with love. I'm full of ambition. I'm full of gratitude for these things because that's how strong that image is in my head. But that's a forethought. Like that's out in the future for me. But it gives me energy and it gives me patience and peace. So when somebody says something racist at my job, which happens sometimes, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not ready to snap. I'm not ready to be the angry black man. I'm just like, that's what's up. I got you. All right, then,
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
but like that's one of those things. So whether you love to feel ambitious, a lot of us men have some hustle. We want to feel ambitious. Whether you like to feel gratitude for the things you've overcome, gratitude for the things you're thankful for, gratitude for the people in your life. Um, those are very powerful emotions, and you can choose other emotions. There are many other emotions, many other things that you could attach your mind and body to. But once you feel the physical feeling, think about that thing for 10 more minutes until that feeling just becomes your vibe for the day. And as you move throughout your day, you'll notice immediately when that feeling and that vibe leaves your body, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm not right. I had the thing going on. What was it? Okay, got it. I was thinking about my
mm-hmm.
sons. I'm back here. So that's how
Yeah.
that's a very quick meditation. And I only wanted to take that time to tell people how to do that because we brought it up. And sometimes people bring up meditation. And if a guy goes Google it, somebody's going to tell him to clear his mind and think of a white background. And sometimes we're too
Right.
busy.
Right.
We don't have that time. So that's my
Nah,
Right.
form of
yeah.
meditation. If anybody here listening to this wants to ask me, because I had to rush the shit out of it, but if anybody wants to ask me how I meditate and get some more details about that, that's listening to this, write us on the fatherhoodvillage.com, put meditation, and I'll jump in and I'll let you know how I meditate and talk to you personally. But like I said, my brother Daddy Longlegs, how do you meditate? What methodology do you prescribe to somebody who's curious and they would hear you say that and be like, well, how do I meditate?
Okay. When I was a few years ago, 2 years ago, I used to teach as well. So I was teaching for this program in Brooklyn called Ife Tayo. They're like kind of like a African centered cultural academy. They have like different like activities for kids. and they had a rites of passage program. So we were working with kids as young as 6. And I think the oldest was 17, and they divided it into 3 like age groups, right? But before we would split off into our groups, we would all meet up in a room, and I made it a thing every Saturday we would meditate. And the way what I would help them do to visualize it is, I mean, I know some people haven't flown before, but like in my mind, when I'm meditating, is not about clearing my thoughts, because honestly, I think that's impossible. Like when people say that, when I first heard that, and people were like, "Oh, just clear your mind," and I'm like, "What? Like,
Yeah.
you know how my mind works? Like, I can't,
Yeah.
can't turn it off." So instead of, when we think, we usually stay on the thought. That's how we're able to communicate. It's like, all right, I got to stay on this subject and keep it going. But what I would do is just kind of is a streamline. It's almost like when you're flying and the plane is going through a cloud. Is just the cloud is just passing by. So whatever thoughts that I'm having, I'm just letting them pass by. And I try to give the kids that I was working with that visual of like, you're just passing through a cloud. You don't stop thinking, but don't let the thoughts stick. Just let it go. And in my own personal practices, when I wake up in the morning, first I pray, then I sit down in the same space I pray. And I definitely want to use your method, because I think that'll be great. But what I usually do is like, I always pray for clarity. Like I want to see as clearly as possible during the day, because you never know what opportunity is gonna come up. You know what I mean? There's certain times where you in a store and something's like I remember when I took a trip out to Tanzania in June, and when I landed, there was a brother. We talked real quick, but when we got off the flight, someone was like, "Talk to that man." I talked to them, and we ended up exchanging numbers, and he was telling me the things that he's working on. It was like, whoa. But it's because I was provided with a certain clarity. Like, my eyes are open wider than when I don't meditate.
Yeah.
And, I feel like when it comes to your purpose or your destiny, there's different paths to it, but there's kind of like it's almost like a streamline. Like you're supposed to, it might not be as fixed as like, well, I'm going to walk here at 4:45 and then but there's certain opportunities that are going to come about where you can either go left or right. Yeah. And when you're met with those opportunities, it's like something is making me go this way, because that is the most conducive to my destiny of what I'm trying to accomplish. If, like you said, the vision of you having the house and you playing ball with your son is like, this is like a higher perspective. It's almost like you're standing on a mountaintop looking at the city as opposed to being down in the city. So when I meditate, I try to get that visual. It's like, what am I trying to see 10 years from now? Like I'm building this business. I'm doing this over here. I got this property. Like I was talking to my kids the other day in the car, and I'm like, the stuff I'm doing, I plan on, like, when you guys are 16, if you say, yo, I'm New York is annoying me. I just need to go see my pops. He got a house out in Tanzania. It's like, that's what I'm doing this for. So even though they're small now, it's like, I got to get to that place. So I got to constantly have the meditation be a reminder of like, don't forget what your mission is. Right. And don't forget how to get there. The way to get there will be a little mysterious, but when you're moving out through your day to day, it the clarity that it provides you is like, okay, this is the move I'm supposed to make. Oh, even again with the conversation about confrontation, will this bullshit bring me closer to where I'm trying to go or not? Because it could easily be, shit, no. And you on the cop car, and now bye to whatever you was trying to do. Right. So to have the clear mind to go, like you said, bro, it ain't worth it. All right, have a good day. Going that way, who knows, how timing works. 3 hours from now, you had that right conversation with a certain person that is now getting you closer to that thing you're trying to accomplish. So for me, it's like clarity, and can I have a bird's eye view of what I'm trying to accomplish for years to come? And then kind of have my body walk with that spirit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
agree. It's obviously you want to stay on center of
Mhm.
this path as you move forward, and knowing that things can derail you, uh going left, going right, going backwards.
Mhm.
And like you said, that clarity, always keeping a clear picture, and knowing that there's things that you can control and things that you cannot control. I think I'm having some latency right here on the.
You
You see
sound
that?
well. You sound well though.
Okay.
You good.
Okay. But yeah, just knowing, okay, there's some things that I have control over, and that's my domain. Let me conquer what I have control over and know the
Mhm.
difference of and what I don't have control over. Don't, so just like you said, you end up in the back of a cop cruiser, or you having road rage, or you snapping on people at work and stuff like that. You had control over that. You know what I'm saying? There's
Right,
a
right,
right and
right,
wrong
right.
way to do things. But nah, this was a awesome conversation. I'm glad we had
Yeah.
this. Before we go, I'm gonna jump to a different subject, but for those that follow zodiac signs, your sun sign, astrology in that matter, people read their horoscopes and things like that. Is that a good way to kind of gauge and understand your disposition on things, and kind of your temperament? Is that like a good gauge and a good barometer to kind of understand yourself and how you interact with other signs and things of that nature?
Yes and no. I always make a joke. Like the newspaper horoscopes, that's like usually astrologers' worst enemy, because people usually come to us and go, "Oh, that's what it is." And it's like, nah, man, I do way more than just like,
Yeah.
you're gonna find a $10 bill in the street because you're a tourist. Like, it's like, but what I would say is, I mean, definitely studying or researching your sun sign definitely helps a great deal. But and it's like baby steps. It's like that's the first part of it. I remember when I started just doing that, and then eventually I moved on to natal charts, which is a deeper aspect of a horoscope. So it's like, yeah,
Mm,
I'm this sun sign, but oh snap, I got this, that, and that, and now it's not as broad. Now is that now I'm learning about me. Yes,
okay.
we're you know got different Libras all over the world, but now I look at my chart, I'm looking at the specific Libra that is me, that was born on this day at this time, and this
Mm,
was I always describe the natal chart is like a snapshot of what was happening in the universe the moment you were born, and that was a unique event. Everything is a unique event, So being able to like look at that unique event that is your life, and
Yeah.
being able to break it apart, it's you don't have to jump right into that, but I would say once you do get a pretty good understanding of your sun sign, to try natal charts. You could just Google like natal chart readings, or you could hit me up.
oh
But
yeah.
it yeah, there's different ways to go about it. And then once you do, let's say if you know your moon and your moon is in Aquarius, there are YouTube videos and thousands of pages that will just break down what Aquarius moon is, and what having a Venus in Taurus means, and all that. So, it's a really fun rabbit hole, that you could take your time. You don't have to make it homework,
Yeah.
take your time with it, and you'll learn more about yourself in the process.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, like I said, man, if y'all need help, don't be afraid to reach out. Whether that's alternative ways, or whether those are conventional ways. But if you if meditation is something that is over your head, if prayer is something that is over your head, get with a brother like Martell. He can definitely teach you those techniques and those tools to put in your toolbox. And you want to learn those things and other things before you start to manifest negative behaviors. And obviously, as fathers, we want to impact our families in the most positive way possible, to build strong men instead of try to repair broken ones. So thank you so much, brother, for your wisdom, for your courtesy, for your patience, for your time, for your ministry, and the way you help these people, man. And Make sure you guys tap in with Martell. We're gonna put his how do we reach you, brother? How
His
do we reach you?
contacts. Yeah. What's your website?
Tell
I
the
know you
people
have a
how we reach.
website.
Yeah, you could if you're interested in booking a reading, you go on the website www.daddylonglegsastrology.com. You can also hit me up on Instagram. I'm always active on Instagram. Daddy Longlegs, Daddy_underscore Longlegs. That's it's DADDI_LONG LEGZ.
Okay.
And yeah, shoot me a DM if any guys have a question. The I
Did I
purposely,
spell it right?
yes sir.
You got it.
Okay, cool.
I purposely made the men's services on the low just so that nothing will discourage you. You just
Right.
we can talk, and I really enjoy being a homie. Like I enjoy being your boy. This is how the conversation will go about. I'm not above you. I'm just somebody that has an expertise, and we're just gonna have some good conversations, much like the ones we had today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, man, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you, brother.
Thank
We
you.
hold you up, man. Give you your flowers right now. We appreciate any brother out here trying to help other brothers, man. 'Cause we got enough of us going to war with each other. This is what we need to make culture, man. Is holding each other up, supporting each other, and being a resource for one another, bro. So with that, I give it to Deshar. He's much better at closing things out than I am.
Oh, nah, not at all, man. But again, just to reiterate, this was a great conversation. I think we discovered some new avenues. For instance, like what Kev said about his form of meditation, how he gets centered, the things he thinks about. And like I said, this is a conversation that can go on and on. We can continue this conversation, and we would like to, like I said, those viewing this episode, please comment below, share what you have, email us. We're at the Fatherhood Village at Gmail. Let's engage. Let's take this further. You know what I'm saying? And subscribe, like, and reach us in all these social media outlets, man. We're here to talk. We're here to spread it, the conversation to many others. All right. So yeah, man. Like I said, Martell, was great having you. We'll try to do this again in the near future. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
All right, man. We're
Hey, it
about to
was
here,
lovely.
man.
All right, brother.
TFV. All right, now without further ado, I'm Dale Holloway. That's Kev Hick. Peace and love.
Peace and love.